I got you, people. Listen, people. I'm not gonna blame color folks. You know why? Because the people that running the show is the white folks. And like I said, if anything happens, blame the white folks. And this is a white folks problem. All over the world, it's a white folks problem. Let me explain. Look, color people don't run the system. We don't make the laws. We don't change the laws, right? We can advocate and cry and kick cans, but nothing's gonna happen because we don't run the government. This is a white folks thing. This is what they like to do. To me, what's happening is, right? White people got investment all over the world. They're the ones that own real estate. They're the ones that own land. They're the ones that got contracts and things like that. So when things don't go right for them, things start changing, right? Because in order for you to go to a country and have contracts and all that with the governments agree, there's got to be some exchange, right? Okay, we're going to let you come in here, you know, bring business, your business. You have cheap labor, but we want a few thousand of our people to go to your country and you know, work over there or, you know, settle there, you know, make a small settlement. But the thing is, when it gets out of control, where our government or our white folks, well, they're not my white folks, but they live where I live, right? So they go to these countries and they make deals. So every government makes deals with different countries, and, you know, they allow their people to come to our country and they allow our people to go to their country. The thing is that regular people don't go out to different countries and buy real estate and businesses and stay there and, you know, dictate what's going to happen in the government. So that's all a government bureaucracy, man. It's all government either hostile takeover or negotiating takeover. If it don't work, there's going to be a hostile takeover. And what happened, the influx of all these immigrants from all these countries coming to America got so much that the white people were saying, wait a minute, it's too much of them. We won't be able to control them, right? Because, you know, some of them were here legally. Most of them probably had permits that were working. But when things were getting too much, when people were saying that they was being overrun by other races, that's when the white folks started complaining that they're being overrun and somebody got to stop it. So that's how they started. We had to deport some of these people back, unknowing, because a lot of them snuck in the country. And it's been known that a lot of people come here with a tourist visa and they overstay and they skip time. They don't go back and they floating from state to state working. And, you know, and when you ask them, yeah, I've been here a couple of years, they learn the language, but they never enter here legally. That's where the problem comes in. But it's all white folks, people's problem, people. So, you know, I always say, if something goes wrong, blame it on the white folks. And I'm going to keep it like that because they're the ones that run the show. You know what's going on? It's been going on since the beginning of time, right? Republicans against Democrats. Before everything was right, but things got too out of hand, right? They're taking this parties too personal with each other that instead of taking care of the country and people, they're fighting each other personally. You see how Donald Trump with the Republicans and they people versus the Democratic people, they don't get along. They always bashing each other, bringing out personal things that don't got nothing to do with running the country, right? So that's what's going on. Nobody's running the country. Everybody's fighting among themselves individually and accusing others that you shouldn't be running for office or the president or senator or congressperson because of your personal past. You know, we should just deal with running the country. That's why our country is in shambles. And you cannot blame the blacks anymore. You cannot blame the Puerto Ricans anymore. You cannot blame the Browns because these people always come out and pick somebody to blame. But no, they don't blame the people that's in power. And that's the white folks. And they're the ones in the blame. And the thing is that Donald Trump is trying to make things right. I mean, he's the only president now that after him, there ain't gonna be no more president like him. And, you know, America is never gonna change for the right. for the right purpose. Donald Trump is the white folks' last hope. And nobody's backing him up. Because why? Because they're fighting against each other because of different parties and different views and different ideas. Look, the Democrats never did nothing for this country but kept everybody trapped in the welfare system, right? Oh, you don't need to work. You can lay back. You can have some handouts. Just file papers and do this. And, they teach you the tricks how to get around the government and things like that. They get workfare. They still don't want to work, wait for your check. Nobody wants to do nothing. Everybody wants to lay back. And that's the Democrats. And then we got the Republicans that are trying to change things, and they have conflict with the Republican that's not right, it's not fair, things like that. No, you got to push your country, your people to excel instead of keeping them back. Learn the skill. We don't have no schools out here where technical skills, everything's vocational or some kind of art form that doesn't do anything for you when you graduate. What you're gonna do with an art degree and things like that, or singing degree, or music instrument. You can't do nothing like that. You gotta have a legit trade that you can fall back on, And I don't blame Donald Trump for kicking certain people out, because if you are not pledging your intelligence, if you have any, or your skills, if you have any, if you don't come here to get something of value to this country, you shouldn't be here. Especially if you're here and we're giving you things, we're giving you privilege, we're giving you to use our rights as a person that touched this land. You entitled for protection. We're giving you all that, but you don't appreciate it. You want to bash on the people that gave you these rights and these privileges and this opportunity, So you're wrong. So you got to go, because that means you didn't came here to do anything for the country. You came here to bash the country after you came from a bad situation and came to a place that you could better your life. Instead, you're complaining, So the white people are done with that because they're in control. That's why I say something happens, blame the white folks. Well, anyway, they're kicking you out. That's it. If there's no use of fighting, because you came illegal, you overstood your tourist visa, you didn't file the right papers. There's no way around it. Have some dignity and honor and respect yourself and just leave willingly. Why you want to get dragged out in social media and get your face splattered all over the social media and platforms throughout the world? You're going to become a full celebrity. You did something wrong and you didn't appreciate what the other country offered you, and you took advantage. And you didn't use it to your advantage, whether you was criticizing the country that gave you this opportunity. So you got to go. So I don't blame Donald Trump, even though I don't agree with everything he says. But hey, he's the only president that stands fast on his word, and he doesn't conduct himself like a upstanding, professional person. He still thinks he's a civilian, and he say things like a regular free civilian, right? A private citizen. That's how he's acting. But that's why I guess people like him, because he's charismatic. No, we never had a president like this guy. But he's trying to put America first, and people should understand that things were better off when we was just a couple of races that understood the culture, that understood. We fought for each other, but we always protected the country. But these people don't come here to protect or value what we give them the opportunity. And they gotta go. And with that, people, you think about that.